Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand taller, walk further, or climb a flight of stairs without hesitation, even as you age? Imagine being 80 or 90 years old and regaining the leg strength you thought was lost forever. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let me tell you it's not. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I've witnessed firsthand the incredible power of specific foods and their ability to reactivate dormant muscle cells. Today, I'm going to share a revolutionary discovery that challenges everything you've been told about aging and muscle loss. As we age, the natural process of muscle loss accelerates. Every decade after the age of 50, you lose about 8% of your muscle mass. But what your doctor might not have told you is that your legs lose muscle 3 times faster than the rest of your body. Why? Because modern life has us sitting for hours each day, leading to a steady decline in muscle strength. You've probably already noticed it in your own life, avoiding stairs, holding onto furniture when walking, or that crippling fear of falling that makes you stop moving altogether. The moment that happens, the decline begins in earnest. But here's the good news. Your muscles, including those in your legs, never truly die. They go dormant, like a sleeping giant waiting for the right signal to wake up. And guess what? That signal comes from a specific combination of nutrients consumed in the right order at the exact right times. This isn't just theory. It's a protocol I've documented in hundreds of my patients who couldn't walk more than a few steps without assistance, and now they're walking miles. You're probably wondering, how can this be possible? Let's dive into what happens inside your body when you start fueling it properly. For starters, let's talk about the body's natural rhythms. Cortisol peaks at dawn, insulin sensitivity changes throughout the day, and growth hormone surges at night. Timing is everything. And I've designed a protocol that takes advantage of these natural rhythms, maximizing muscle reactivation and boosting leg strength. The first food I'm going to talk about is sweet potatoes. You've probably heard that sweet potatoes are a healthy choice, but not in the way you think. Here's the key. It's not the flesh of the sweet potato that's crucial, but the skin. Specifically, the skin of the sweet potato, when prepared in the right way, creates a process I call metabolic priming. What does that mean for your legs? It means that when you eat sweet potato skin in a specific state, it triggers a biochemical response that reactivates your muscle cells. When you bake a sweet potato, the starches in it convert into sugars. But if you then refrigerate that cooked sweet potato for at least 8 hours, those sugars transform into something entirely different, resistant starch. This resistant starch cannot be digested by your stomach. Instead, it travels to your colon, where beneficial bacteria ferment it, creating short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate is key for your leg muscles because it increases insulin sensitivity by up to 40%, making your muscles more efficient at absorbing glucose. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The skin of the sweet potato contains a compound called chlorogenic acid, but this compound isn't available for absorption unless the sweet potato is baked and then cooled. The cooling process makes this compound bioavailable and ready to fuel your muscle cells. What does this mean practically? Every Sunday evening, I have my patients bake 4 or 5 medium-sized sweet potatoes. After baking, they refrigerate them overnight. The following morning, they eat 1 cold sweet potato with the skin on. Yes, cold. It might sound strange, but trust me, this method works. The key is to avoid reheating the sweet potato because reheating reverses the benefits of the resistant starch. Timing matters too. You need to eat your cold sweet potato within 30 minutes of waking. Why? Because your cortisol levels are at their peak, opening up cellular pathways that allow your muscles to absorb nutrients more efficiently. This is what I call the morning absorption window. It's a 90-minute window where your muscles become primed and ready for the nutrient boost they're about to get. I'll tell you about one patient. Let's call her Dorothy. She was 78 years old and hadn't walked more than 50 feet in 2 years. After just 10 days of eating cold sweet potatoes every morning, Dorothy was walking over 300 feet, an achievement she thought was impossible. And this was just from priming her muscles properly with sweet potatoes. But sweet potatoes alone aren't enough to rebuild muscle strength. They prepare your body for the next step. The next critical food in my protocol is steel-cut oats. This food will sustain the progress we've made with the sweet potatoes for 8 to 10 hours. Without it, your legs will lose energy by noon. So, what makes oats so effective? It's not just any oatmeal you find in packets. This is steel-cut oats that you need to prepare the night before. Here's why it's important. Oats, like many grains, contain a substance called phytic acid, which binds to minerals like iron, magnesium, and zinc, preventing your body from absorbing them. This is a problem, especially for seniors, whose stomach acid levels naturally decline with age. Soaking the oats in water with raw apple cider vinegar neutralizes the phytic acid, making the minerals available for absorption. Once you've soaked the oats overnight, you rinse them, cook them, and add a small amount of real butter and sea salt. The next key benefit of steel-cut oats is that they increase nitric oxide production in your blood vessels. This improves blood flow, which is essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients to your leg muscles throughout the day. One of my patients, Robert, was 82 years old and struggled with walking. After incorporating sweet potatoes and activated oats into his diet, he walked without a walker for the first time in years, and his blood sugar levels stabilized. His doctors were amazed, but I wasn't. I knew exactly what was happening at the cellular level. Now, while sweet potatoes prime your muscles and oats sustain them, we need to add something that protects your muscles from the chronic low-grade inflammation that has been silently damaging them over the years. This is where avocado comes in. Chronic inflammation is one of the biggest problems older adults face. It's subtle, you don't always feel it, but it's wreaking havoc on your muscle tissue. Avocados are the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory I've found in my clinical practice. But what makes avocados even more valuable isn't just their healthy fats, it's the glutathione they contain. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant, and it plays a crucial role in protecting your muscle cells from oxidative stress. Without enough glutathione, your mitochondria, the energy factories in your muscle cells, can't function properly. This leads to muscle weakness and fatigue. But here's the kicker. Avocados also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, compounds that protect your muscle satellite cells, the stem cells responsible for repairing muscle damage. As we age, these satellite cells become dormant, but the lutein and zeaxanthin from avocados help wake them up. This is why I recommend eating half an avocado, including the dark green flesh closest to the skin, 2 hours after your morning oats. This timing ensures that your body is in fat-burning mode, which helps you absorb the healthy fats and antioxidants more effectively. Let's pause for a moment. We've already covered 3 critical foods, sweet potatoes, oats, and avocados, but I've got more powerful foods coming up that will directly help rebuild your muscles. Stay tuned for the next part of this protocol, where we'll dive into foods that provide the actual raw materials your muscles need to grow stronger. Now that we've set the stage by priming your muscles with sweet potatoes, sustaining them with oats, and protecting them with avocados, it's time to dive into the foods that will actually rebuild your leg muscles. The next 3 foods on my list are non-negotiable. If you skip any of them, you're losing out on a significant portion of the benefits from this protocol. These foods provide the raw materials your body needs to construct new muscle tissue, and without them, even the best foods in the world won't work as effectively. The first food we're going to talk about is something you've likely heard of before, berries. But not just any berries, and not in the way you've been told to eat them. I'm specifically talking about frozen berries, and they need to be eaten at night. This might go against everything you've been taught about when to eat berries, but trust me, this approach works. Let me explain why. Berries are packed with a compound called anthocyanins, which give them their vibrant red, blue, and purple colors. Anthocyanins are incredibly powerful anti-inflammatories, stronger than even the glutathione in avocados. But here's the catch. The anthocyanins in fresh berries are locked inside the cell walls of the fruit. Your digestive system can only access about 15-20% of them when the berries are fresh. However, if you freeze the berries, the ice crystals inside puncture the cell walls, releasing up to 60% more anthocyanins when the berries thaw. So, why does this matter for your leg strength? Anthocyanins don't just reduce inflammation, they specifically target muscle recovery during sleep. Your body produces growth hormone while you sleep, and this hormone is essential for repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue. But growth hormone can only do its job if inflammation is low enough. If you eat berries in the morning, the anthocyanins are mostly gone by evening, missing the window when growth hormone surges. But if you eat frozen berries at exactly 8 p.m., 2 hours before bed, you'll get the full benefit. That's when the anthocyanins are at their peak concentration in your blood, and they can work in tandem with growth hormone to repair your muscles. Here's my protocol. Every evening at 8 p.m., eat exactly 1 cup of mixed frozen berries. Let them thaw for 20 minutes before eating, but don't add sugar or yogurt, just the berries. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, mix them together for the best results. This simple evening ritual will work wonders on your leg muscles while you sleep. Now, let's move on to the next food that plays a crucial role in rebuilding your muscles: wild-caught salmon. And I want to be crystal clear on this. Only wild-caught salmon will work for this protocol. Forget about farm-raised salmon, as it has a completely different fatty acid profile, and it simply won't have the same muscle rebuilding effects. The key to making salmon effective is eating the skin, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Salmon is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are known for their anti-inflammatory properties and their ability to improve blood flow. But what most people don't realize is that salmon skin contains a unique form of collagen called marine collagen. Marine collagen has a different molecular structure than beef or chicken collagen. It's absorbed more easily by your digestive system, and once inside your body, it goes straight to work rebuilding the connective tissue that holds your muscle fibers together. Think of muscle fibers as bricks in a building, and the connective tissue is the mortar that holds them in place. As we age, that mortar starts to crumble, which is why older muscles look stringy under a microscope. Marine collagen helps rebuild that mortar, making your muscles stronger and more resilient. But there's an even more powerful effect when you cook the skin until it's crispy. When you heat salmon skin, something chemical happens that makes the collagen up to 70% more bioavailable. This is why it's so important to cook the skin properly. I've tested this with before and after blood work, and the results speak for themselves. Here's my protocol. Eat wild-caught salmon twice per week, always with the skin on, and don't just throw it on the grill. You need to crisp the skin under a broiler for the last 2 to 3 minutes of cooking. Each serving should be about 6 ounces, and I recommend pairing it with dark leafy greens like kale or spinach, which provide vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 helps direct calcium to your bones, strengthening them and aiding muscle contraction. When should you eat salmon? I recommend having it at lunch or an early dinner, at least 4 hours before bed. Why? Because protein triggers thermogenesis, which slightly raises your body temperature. If you eat salmon too close to bedtime, you'll disrupt your sleep, and we need that deep sleep for growth hormone production. My patient Robert, an 82-year-old with type 2 diabetes, added salmon to his diet twice a week. Within 6 weeks, he was walking without a walker, and his A1C dropped significantly. His doctors couldn't explain it, but I could. It was the combination of stable blood sugar, reduced inflammation, and stronger muscles that led to metabolic healing. But salmon isn't the only powerhouse food you need. We've talked about prime foods for muscle priming, sustaining energy, and inflammation reduction. Now, we're getting to the foods that actually rebuild and repair muscle tissue. The next food on my list is one that most people have overlooked. The magic food number 1 on my protocol: whole eggs. Yes, you heard me right. Eggs are the most important food on this list. Forget the egg propaganda you've been hearing. The cholesterol theory has been debunked, and dietary cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. But let's not talk about heart disease. We're focused on legs, and eggs are critical for muscle repair. Eggs contain the highest quality, most bioavailable protein you can get. The biological value of egg protein is 100, the gold standard that all other proteins are measured against. Every essential amino acid your muscles need is found in eggs in perfect ratios. But the real magic happens in the yolk. The yolk contains a compound called phosphatidylcholine, which is essential for muscle cell membrane health. Without enough phosphatidylcholine, muscle cell membranes become weak and leaky, and muscles can't contract properly. This directly contributes to muscle weakness. The yolk also contains choline, a nutrient essential for nerve function. If you have low choline levels, you'll experience poor balance, slow reflexes, and a shuffling gait. Here's my protocol. Every morning, eat 2 to 3 whole eggs with soft, runny yolks. I prefer them soft-boiled, 7-minute boil, poached or sunny side up. Cook them in real butter, never vegetable oil or cooking spray, because phosphatidylcholine is fat soluble and you need fat to absorb it effectively. Eat them within 30 minutes of your activated oats, because that's the perfect window to trigger muscle protein synthesis, the actual process of building new muscle tissue. Egg yolks are also one of the few natural sources of vitamin D3, which is absolutely critical for muscle function. Seniors who are deficient in vitamin D3 have 30% weaker leg muscles than those with optimal levels. 2 eggs daily will give you about 80 IU of D3, and combined with some modest sun exposure, this will help improve your muscle strength. I had a patient named Margaret, 81 years old, who had been using a walker and was terrified of falling. After just 10 weeks of following my protocol, with special emphasis on eating 3 soft-boiled eggs every morning, she was walking unassisted and even going upstairs without a railing. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. Now that you have the complete protocol priming, sustaining, protecting, rebuilding, let's look at the final piece of the puzzle. Stay tuned for the next part, where we'll discuss how to put everything together and ensure that your muscle building protocol is as effective as possible. Now that you have the foundation, sweet potatoes to prime your muscles, oats to sustain them, avocados to protect them, berries to reduce inflammation, salmon to rebuild connective tissue, and eggs to trigger muscle growth, it's time to dive deeper into the final pieces of the puzzle that will ensure your muscles get everything they need to thrive. In this part of the protocol, we're going to focus on the foods that will maximize your muscle building process and ensure that your legs stay strong and independent for years to come. Let's start with a food that's often overlooked when it comes to muscle health, but it's essential to any rebuilding plan: spinach. Yes, you heard me correctly. Spinach is one of the most powerful natural muscle builders you can eat. But it's not just about the iron content, which most people associate with spinach. The real magic of spinach lies in its high concentration of nitrates. Nitrates, found abundantly in spinach, are converted into nitric oxide in the body. And what does nitric oxide do? It helps to dilate your blood vessels, which improves blood flow and oxygen delivery to your muscles. Improved circulation means that more oxygen and nutrients get to your leg muscles, helping them recover faster and perform better. When muscles are deprived of oxygen, they fatigue more quickly and have a harder time regenerating. With the increased blood flow from the nitrates in spinach, you'll notice an improvement in stamina, endurance, and overall muscle function. To incorporate spinach into your protocol, I recommend having a generous serving with your salmon or as part of a salad at lunch or dinner. Raw spinach works great in salads, but if you want to boost its nitrate content, lightly sautéed in olive oil with garlic for just a couple of minutes. This simple preparation will make the nutrients more bioavailable and make it easier for your body to absorb them. But we can't just rely on spinach alone. The next food I want to talk about is another powerful anti-inflammatory agent, turmeric. This bright yellow spice is packed with curcumin, a compound that has been studied extensively for its potent anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic inflammation is one of the leading causes of muscle degeneration, so reducing inflammation is key to keeping your muscles strong. Curcumin is a powerful antioxidant that neutralizes free radicals, preventing oxidative stress from damaging your muscle cells. But there's one catch: curcumin is not easily absorbed by the body. It's fat soluble, which means it needs fat to be absorbed properly. So I recommend adding turmeric to a dish with healthy fats like olive oil or coconut oil. For maximum absorption, pair it with black pepper, which contains piperine, a compound that can increase curcumin absorption by up to 20%. You can sprinkle turmeric on your eggs or salmon, or even add it to your smoothies for an anti-inflammatory boost. Incorporating turmeric into your diet regularly can help reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that leads to muscle weakness, allowing your muscles to regenerate more quickly and remain strong for longer. As part of my protocol, I suggest adding turmeric to at least 1 meal per day, whether that's in a curry, sprinkled over roasted vegetables, or stirred into your morning oatmeal. Now, while inflammation is a major factor in muscle weakness, there's one other thing that's equally important: your gut health. Did you know that your gut plays a crucial role in muscle function and recovery? If your gut is out of balance, it can directly affect your ability to absorb the nutrients your muscles need to grow. That's why gut health must be prioritized in any muscle building protocol. To To support gut health, you need to focus on probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are the beneficial bacteria that live in your gut and help with digestion, while prebiotics are the foods that feed those bacteria, allowing them to thrive. A healthy gut microbiome improves nutrient absorption, reduces inflammation, and enhances muscle recovery. Some of the best sources of probiotics include fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kombucha. Incorporating these foods into your daily routine will help ensure that your gut is in optimal condition to absorb the nutrients from all the muscle-building foods we've discussed so far. I recommend adding a serving of fermented foods to your diet each day, a small bowl of yogurt with your breakfast, a glass of kombucha with lunch, or a spoonful of sauerkraut with dinner can make a big difference in supporting your gut health. But it's not just about probiotics. Prebiotics are equally important. Foods like garlic, onions, asparagus, and leeks are excellent sources of prebiotics. These foods feed the good bacteria in your gut, helping them to grow and thrive. The more robust your gut microbiome, the better your body will be at absorbing the nutrients necessary for building and maintaining strong muscles. I suggest incorporating prebiotic-rich foods into your meals as often as possible, whether that's adding garlic to your stir fry or tossing some asparagus into your salad. At this point, you might be wondering, what else can I do to ensure I'm getting the most out of this muscle rebuilding protocol? One critical piece that often gets overlooked is hydration. Staying hydrated is essential for muscle function, recovery, and overall health. When you're dehydrated, your muscles can't contract properly and they become more prone to fatigue and cramping. It's not just about drinking water, it's about replenishing the electrolytes that help your muscles function properly. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium are key for maintaining muscle function, and they're lost when you sweat or become dehydrated. To keep your muscles hydrated, I recommend drinking plenty of water throughout the day, but also adding electrolyte-rich foods to your diet. Foods like bananas, rich in potassium, leafy greens, rich in magnesium, and a pinch of sea salt in your water can help maintain optimal hydration levels for muscle function. I had a patient named Clara, 84 years old, who had been struggling with severe leg cramps for years. She had tried everything, but nothing worked. After incorporating the muscle building protocol I've outlined, along with ensuring she was properly hydrated and incorporating electrolytes into her diet, her leg cramps stopped within 2 weeks. She was able to walk longer distances without feeling that excruciating pain. We've covered a lot of ground so far, and now you have a powerful protocol that addresses all the key aspects of muscle health: priming, sustaining, protecting, rebuilding, and optimizing. But the next step is to put everything together into a daily routine. I'll show you exactly how to implement the full protocol so you can start seeing results as soon as possible. Now that you have the complete protocol, it's time to take everything we've learned so far and put it into a daily routine that's easy to follow and will maximize your results. The goal is to gradually incorporate these foods into your diet, and with each passing day, you'll notice your leg strength improving, your energy levels rising, and your independence being restored. I'm going to guide you through a step-by-step process, one meal at a time, so you can start seeing the benefits of this muscle rebuilding protocol right away. Let's start with morning, the most important time of day for muscle reactivation. As soon as you wake up, you'll want to begin with cold sweet potatoes. I know it may sound strange, but eating a cold sweet potato first thing in the morning, specifically within 30 minutes of waking, sets the stage for everything else that comes next. Remember, the resistant starch in the sweet potato skin primes your muscles, getting them ready to absorb the nutrients you're about to feed them. Here's a step-by-step. Bake 4 to 5 medium-sized sweet potatoes on Sunday evening, let them cool completely, and refrigerate them overnight. Every morning, take 1 sweet potato from the fridge and eat it cold, skin on, add a little cinnamon or sea salt if needed. Do not reheat it, as reheating will undo the benefits. Eat this within 30 minutes of waking. This timing takes advantage of the cortisol peak in the morning, priming your muscles to absorb the nutrients and set the stage for the rest of your day. After the sweet potato, wait 30 minutes before moving on to breakfast. Now, you'll follow the sweet potato with a bowl of activated steel-cut oats. Remember, this isn't the instant oatmeal in packets. You need actual steel-cut oats. These oats are rich in compounds like avenanthramides, which promote nitric oxide production, improving blood flow to your leg muscles throughout the day. But the most important part of this is the overnight soaking process, which neutralizes phytic acid, a compound that binds to minerals like iron, magnesium, and zinc, preventing your body from absorbing them. Without this step, your muscles would starve for the minerals they need to function. Here's the exact process for preparing your oats. Before bed, measure 1 cup of steel-cut oats and add 2 cups of filtered water to a bowl. Add 2 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar and mix well. Cover the bowl and leave it on the counter overnight to soak. In the morning, drain and rinse the oats. Then cook them on the stove for about 15 minutes until creamy. Once they're done, add a small pad of real butter, not margarine, and a pinch of sea salt. Eat these oats 30 minutes after your cold sweet potato. This precise timing allows the resistant starch from the sweet potato to prime your gut, setting it up for the slow release of glucose from the oats, which will fuel your muscles for the next 8 to 10 hours. Now, after your oats, it's time for eggs, specifically 2 to 3 whole eggs with the yolk soft, runny, or jammy. The egg yolk contains phosphatidylcholine, a compound that's crucial for muscle cell membrane health. When you cook the egg yolk soft, it preserves this compound, which supports strong, functional muscle contractions. Here's how to prepare your eggs. Cook the eggs in real butter, not vegetable oil, to help with the absorption of the nutrients. Soft boil, poach, or make sunny side up eggs. The yolk must remain runny to preserve the phosphatidylcholine. Eat the eggs within 30 minutes of your oats. This timing helps trigger muscle protein synthesis, the process of building new muscle tissue by pairing carbohydrates with protein from the eggs. After you've had your eggs, wait about 2 hours before moving on to your next food. This is when you'll eat half an avocado, including the dark green flesh closest to the skin. The dark green layer contains carotenoids, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your muscle satellite cells, your muscle stem cells, from damage. These carotenoids wake up dormant satellite cells, helping them repair muscle tissue and regenerate stronger muscles. Here's how to incorporate avocado. Slice half an avocado and eat it directly or add it to a salad. Eat this 2 hours after your eggs when your body is in fat-burning mode and can effectively absorb the healthy fats and antioxidants from the avocado. After lunch, we come to dinner, where you'll want to focus on wild-caught salmon with crispy skin. Remember, the skin is where the magic happens. It contains marine collagen, which helps rebuild the connective tissue that holds your muscle fibers together. This collagen makes your muscles more resilient and able to perform at their best. When you cook the salmon, make sure to crisp the skin under a broiler for the last 2 to 3 minutes. This step transforms the collagen into a more bioavailable form that your body can absorb easily. Here's the protocol for your salmon. Eat 6 ounces of wild-caught salmon with the skin twice per week. Broil the skin for 2 to 3 minutes until it becomes crispy and browned. Pair the salmon with dark leafy greens like kale or spinach to provide vitamin K2, which ensures calcium goes into your bones rather than your arteries. Finally, we come to evening, where the last step is all about muscle recovery during sleep. At 8 p.m., eat 1 cup of mixed frozen berries. These berries are rich in anthocyanins, which help reduce inflammation and specifically target muscle recovery during sleep. If you eat them at night, they'll peak in your bloodstream just when your growth hormone surges, giving your body the best opportunity to repair and rebuild muscle tissue while you sleep. Here's how to incorporate berries. Take out 1 cup of mixed frozen berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, from the freezer 20 minutes before eating. Eat them plain, no added sugar, no yogurt. Eat them exactly at 8 p.m., 2 hours before going to bed, to maximize muscle recovery during sleep. Now that you have your full daily protocol, it's time to put it all together. Each meal is strategically timed to work with your body's natural rhythms, maximizing the effects of each food and ensuring your muscles get the nourishment they need to rebuild and thrive. Start with small changes, add cold sweet potatoes to your morning routine, then slowly build the protocol over 2 to 3 weeks as you get used to each food. The beauty of this approach is that you don't need to make huge, overwhelming changes all at once. Start with one food, see how your body responds, and then add the next. As you gradually implement the full protocol, you'll notice the difference in your legs, your strength, and your ability to move with confidence. But don't just take my word for it. Try it for yourself and see how these simple, nutrient-dense foods can transform your legs and your life.